So they say truth is stranger than fiction. Nobody in their right mind could have ever imagined. I don't think it ever happened in human history, and there have been insane ideas that have happened throughout human history that somebody would imagine that a group of people could actually say that a male can be a female. It's like a group of people that decided the sun is the moon and the moon is the sun. But fundamentally, it makes us think about something else. And there are really just two pathways that humanity can travel on. And this is really the fundamental difference between basically sanity and insanity. And it goes like this: God gave us all, every single human being, in fact, every single soul, has effectively two parts to them. You have your mind, which is independent, at least by humans or by higher beings such as angels, independent of your emotions. Your mind has an ability to create emotions. So, for example, a woman might want to be skinny, or I might want to diet to be healthy, whatever the desire is. So, the instincts, the body, the heart, which we call instincts, has a biochemical reaction to food. Right? We all like sugar because it creates this kind of sugar high. And that's an addiction. We all have predilections, certain things we hate. Being burnt, God forbid, it creates pain. So certain things automatically create pleasure versus pain. So that's the body story. And the body story is basically like an addict. But the mind is exactly opposite. The mind is saying to you, listen, you may like sugar, but sugar is really bad for you. And so don't have it. And so we are all in this war between what's called logic, sanity, and illogic instincts. Now, if you look at the whole, what if you want to call it the woke movement, it all boils down to instincts overtaking the mind. And this happens throughout human history, wherever the society kind of is permissive enough. So this war between basically common sense, and common sense always is the long-term effect. It says, Ezeu chacham haroya es hanoilid. Who is wise? Whoever can see the future results of the actions. So the person who's not wise says, okay, I'm just going to fulfill this, whether it's a sexual instinct, whether it's, a food instinct, whether it's a drug instinct. Meanwhile, those things literally spell the death. Spread of AIDS through immoral behavior, other diseases, is out of the roof, as well as the fact is that the most basic idea of common sense is perpetuation. Everything desires to perpetuate itself. So if something is normal and healthy, it wants its continuation. But if something is self-destructive, or even just the instinct, because the instinct doesn't think long-term, it just thinks about my pleasure now, so then it just like, that's it, I want it now, even if it's going to cost me long-term, like some people take drugs literally and die. So the idea is that this kind of instinctive behavior is a non-thinking behavior, and all of it, whether it's not protecting your country, what will happen? Well, it's tremendous amounts of crime. Get rid of the police force, again, crime. All of this is instinct. It's like, don't think long-term, just react maybe to the fear or to the desire now. And ultimately, we can get to the deepest truth. And the deepest truth is, why are we even here? Who made us have this conflict between the mind and the heart? And what's the purpose of it? And ultimately, the purpose is that we should be able to grow. You have to have an independent instinct to be alive. But at the same time, you have to realize that, yes, birth does determine not only your biology, but it also determines your purpose in this world. If God wanted me to be a female, he would have made me a female. There's basically the way biology works is the way God made it. 51% of the population is female, 49% is male. Now, obviously, that means that the reason my soul and my body, because it's really the same thing, the soul's basically, the body is like the container of the soul while it's here on earth. The reason this exists is it exists to fulfill the role that I have to play. So instead of looking at the world, and this is what a lot of philosophies do, like, oh, we're right, they're wrong. Now, how do we deal with it? I don't know if it's radical Islam, chop off their head. If it's this current woke, just like force everybody through the law, just like communism did, just like force them into our way of life. And other religions might say, okay, go convince them or wait for them to find the truth. But the bottom line is everybody's saying the same thing. I'm right and they're wrong. But the truth of the matter is that we're all part of history. We're all part of a puzzle. And this puzzle was made by the puzzle master. And you're a piece, one piece in an infinite story. And your piece can really be determined. If you're a Jew, obviously you have the 613 commandments by God. If you're a Gentile, you have the 7 Noahide laws. The point is we all have been chosen to play a part. So imagine a drama and there's a director. He says, okay, you want to know your part? Well, look at how you've been born. That is the part that you have to play in the universe. Now, obviously, God gives us the ability to think and say, okay, well, here's a part that I can fix. And the very fact that you saw something to fix means that this is the thing to fix. So you have a choice. Choice in front of you is use your head to do things that long-term are good for you and to believe in God who chose you to be a very special part of his story, an infinite, beautiful, upgrading story, or follow the herd, as we find many societies, crazy ideas such as communism came in. If you think long term, the thing doesn't make any sense. This whole idea of it's okay to have any identity that you want is insanity of the highest order. It's self-destructive and it's evil. Follow the herd. And those groups, as statistics show, will, as all groups that have done stupid things that weren't long-term but instinctive, fade away from human history. And just like if somebody was a communist, their whole world and everything they worked for just faded away. Eventually, because it wasn't based on logic, on anything rational, it dissolved and their whole life was a waste. So choose life. Choose God, choose literally sanity over insanity. Good luck, because the direction you choose is the direction you'll go.